Ciao, ciao, dosto. Welcome to a very special episode. With me, I have Chintan joining in. आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है, जो आज का हमारा विषय है, is one man, Vincent Italy, Vincenzo Italiano, the current coach of Bologna FC, and someone who I think every panel of Calcio Charcha has had some kind of unbun with him over the course of 3, 4, 5 years that he's been. But he has proved everybody wrong, Chintan, and he's been doing a miracle job with Bologna. Let's talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Vincenzo Italiano.
Yes, man. Like, first of all, Ajay, I think from the panel, we are always very happy to accept when we are wrong. And a public apology बनती है Ajay. That even at the start, and I remember जो हम लोग fun bold predictions भी ले रहे थे, more like you us, a lot of us thought second they'll finish in the second half of the table.
Yeah.
But first of all, it's I know उसके तक पहुंचे कि ना पहुंचे पता नहीं, but we would like to publicly apologize to him that he's been doing wonders. Our bad, it's great to see an Italian manager first of all doing well and not as high profile. Ajay, main क्या है पता है, इस सब में क्या होता है? Of course, he followed a manager like Motta, who was a high profile player himself also. So it was something like उसके shadow में आए, losing such good players also like Calafiori gaya, so none of us thought, to be very honest. And Ajay, let's not forget they had a very shaky start. At the start, I really thought, I hope it's not fighting relegation. Cagliari types nahi ho jaye, they'll be bottom fighting relegation. But kudos to them. How have they turned this around? And it's all like, जैसे नया मैनेजर आता है अजय, of course it takes to drain out the old manager's tactics from the system and influx new tactics into a team. उसको थोड़ा time लगता है. And I'll tell you, I'm very happy to say that this happened way quicker than I expected. I didn't think, of course, he's going to get relegated, but he's going to get 9th, 10th finish करेंगे, but he'll still be around. But great. And I would like Champions League में गए, सब लोग गाली दे रहे थे कि यार I hope Bologna है, नाक कटा देगी ऐसा. I think they bowed out really strong. What do you say, Ajay?
100%, 100%. I think, like you mentioned, this Bologna team lost the likes of Calafiori, Joshua Zirkzee, and also Lewis Ferguson to an ACL injury. तो Italiano का जो job था वो already एक challenge था. Plus, in the summer, you had Sartori, who's a great sporting director. He brought in some players who are probably not that known. So, ये दो combination था, and like you mentioned, new manager, new tactics, समय लगता है. So, first half थोड़ा shaky था, but Italiano has recovered in the second half. Credit goes to him and his players, of course. उसके बारे में हम detail में थोड़ा stats numbers pull out करेंगे. But Chintan, Vincenzo Italiano, the man, I think we saw him at Spezia, at the highest level. And of course, Roma का थोड़ा एक bogey team रह चुका है Spezia, we bowed out of the Coppa Italia a few times. And that's where he made his mark, Vincenzo Italiano. But of course, he got that jump to Fiorentina. 2 consecutive Conference League finals with La Viola. Unfortunately, losing both the finals. What did you make of him? Like, what were your first thoughts when you saw him at Spezia and then Fiorentina, and then finally when he got that big jump now to Bologna?
Actually, to be very honest, of course, Spezia के साथ तो Roma का connection था, of course, as you said, boogie team. But he's anyways, as a personality also, he's not a very Italian personality. Like he's not the one who will be the most fancily dressed. Like I still remember when Mancini was at Man City with a scarf on his neck. He's not one of them. Even he's not as aggressive, as what do you call it, expressive as Spalletti. So these things, he's a pragmatic manager. So when he was at Fiorentina, Fiorentina, I think is a mess. Was a mess at least back then, and he had to go through a lot of turmoil. How the owners are, Ajay.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about how the Italian owners are, Rocco Camiso. So a lot of turmoil. But what I like to say is, individually, player-wise, he did help a lot of players. I know Milan se Bonaventura gaya tha. Everyone thought it's a tapering end of his career. अच्छा उसको push मिला था. Vlahovic, यार, how can we forget bloody Vlahovic? You know, like what he turned him into a beast. Milenkovic, of course, look at him, Ajay, like he's tearing it up at
Killing it
Nottingham. You know,
in the Premier League. Yeah.
exactly. So you know, as an eye, he's not an eye-catching guy, but he was there, and it feels like he's a pretty much a knockout manager, Ajay. Like, you know, there is,
Yeah.
let's not say like everyone के सामने सबसे बड़ा example मैं दे सकता हूँ is Ancelotti. Like, he thrives in knockout games, you know, because it's a one-off game. He's a guy who thrives in such specialty conditions. So I think उसका first एक दो season okay गया था, लेकिन I think the 2021, 22, 23, 24 तक I think he picked up quite a bit. And last two seasons, of course, with Fiorentina, not just for us, Ajay, I think he got Fiorentina on the map for a lot of other people.
Yeah.
And you and me know that West Ham loss should not have happened. That loss, I don't know, that lapse of concentration, they were overtired. Uh, no substitutes में थोड़ा mistake कर दिया, but that's not on. You can say probably jitters, you know, बोल सकते हैं उसके लिए.
Hmm.
But I feel this shouldn't have happened. That loss, West Ham loss, shouldn't have happened, and तभी लगा था, but I really didn't think that he would be taking over a club who were in the Champions League. You know, उसको replace manager को जैसे मोटा जैसे को replace करके he will consistently take this project forward. वो नहीं लगा था, and that is our bad. I really didn't rate him very highly. I didn't really think that he would be the manager who would be a top 5, top 6 manager. मेरे को लगा he'll float
Yeah.
around with the 6th, 7th, 8th kind of a club. But kudos to
Yeah.
him, Ajay. Like, I remember his Viola did play. He used to concede a lot of goals, Ajay, but they used to love scoring goals. Viola loved with his 4-2-3-1. He enjoyed scoring goals. I know because I'm a big Jack Bonaventura fan. I know how he revived him. He moved him. He was a winger. He moved him into a center, attacking
Yeah.
midfielder. Usko move kar diya. It was a big jump. So all these things, I think it worked in his favor, and he landed this job. And we all, of course, not though final हार गए हैं, but still there, he's still here, he's going to kind of reach another final, Ajay. So
Yeah.
let's see how it goes, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, इस समय पे for the viewers, I just want to share with all of them a typical Vincenzo Italiano Bologna lineup, and this is, of course, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to pull this graphic out, because this was from his 5-0 5-0 victory over Lazio, where Bologna absolutely demolished Lazio. So this is how Italiano generally lines up with his Bologna team. You have Skorupski in goal, Calabria, Chintan, Tera Chahita,
Yes.
Calabria in right back, playing the football of his life right now. Bukema and Lukumi once again very highly rated. Probably will leave in the summer. Miranda, who was brought in for Calafiori. Lewis Ferguson is back. He is their club captain and a
Yes.
very inspirational player. Remo Freuler again revived in that number 8 role that he did so well, जब वो Atlanta में था.
Yes.
Orsolini, man, again another guy like you mentioned, Bonaventura. Orsolini in the
Revivals.
second half, revival यार, मतलब वो तो अभी गोल मार के जाके नॉक कर रहे कैमरा में, भाई स्पेलिटी ले लो मुझे इटली के लिए. येंस ऑडगार्ड, आई नो कि a lot of Premier League fans will think ये ओडेगार्ड का कोई विकसित रूप है, बट माय गॉड वी नो चिंतन व्हाट अ प्लेयर यार. एंड
What,
अगर कोई
yeah, what a
प्रीमियर लीग
player.
देख लेगा, प्रीमियर लीग टीम्स देख लेगा तो उसको साइन कर लेगा. एंड सेम विद डैन एंड डॉय यार. डैन एंड डॉय आल्सो, what a player, like, such raw pace, such a nice technical player, can cut in, and he's got a great shot in him as well. And of course Castro, who has been one of the signings of the season, brought in to replace Joshua Zirkzee, who left over the summer to Manchester United. So this is typically how Italiano, like you mentioned, 4-2-3-1, loves this shape. And this Bologna team now are scary because they are scoring goals and they're not conceding goals now. Like, he's been on a rich vein of form, Vincenzo Italiano, with his Bologna team, that has seen them propel up to fourth place. And Chintan, tu baad mein share kar Serie A table, like, the rise of Bologna has been fantastic. And like you mentioned, he's won the first leg of the Coppa Italia against Empoli, 1 foot in the final. Pretty much he will get there. मतलब वो तो final पहुंचने ही वाला है Bologna. So like 3 finals in 3 years, man. So kudos. I think we all of us give a lot of flack to him. We were very harsh on him, and like you mentioned at the top, quite happy to be proven wrong. by a manager who has now certainly, put his name out there that I am the, brightest coaching talent now in Italy, arguably even higher than Roberto De Zerbi, in my opinion.
Yes, you can say that. You can say that because he has never got the क्या बोलते हैं क्रेडिट. पहली बात तो क्रेडिट तो बहुत दूर की बात है, बट उसको थोड़ा रिकग्निशन भी नहीं मिला है. फॉरगेट बीइंग अंडररेटेड, रेटेड ही नहीं था. मतलब हाँ है इटालियानो है, ही इज फॉलोइंग इन द फुटस्टेप ऑफ मोटा. तो चलो फर्स्ट सीजन ट्रायल एंड एरर होता है. एंड व्हाट आई लाइक इज अबाउट हिम अजय इज, जैसे हम लोग ने बात किया बोनावेंचुरा की, जैसे बात की ओर्सोलिनी की, रिवाइवल्स. एंड सेकेंडली द ग्रोथ ऑफ एंडोय has been phenomenal. Lukumi and Endoy are two people spectacular. Lukumi, to be honest, have gotten like the eye of Premier League already. He's already linked with
Yeah.
Liverpool, he's already linked. And one good thing I like about certain clubs, some clubs, especially Italian clubs or smaller clubs, wherever, that clubs are system based. Calafiori left, so things won't change. So Lukumi, of course, will give them big money if he goes. So whatever it is, it's still a business. It's still a club which wants to earn money. So ऐसे churn out करते हैं. Orsolini, अजय सबसे बड़ा case. I always thought Orsolini should not be a Berardi. That उधर ही रह के अपना talent उधर ही दिखा के, now that age is gone, now he's not moving. So this might be Ajay, this and next year might be the 2 years where Orsolini might get to make that jump to a bigger club. Not that, no disrespect to Bologna, but to at least showcase his talent on European level. Agar, if Bologna keep doing as they're doing right now, you'll see them in the Champions League, Europa League. So we want them to get more exposure, which in turn helps the national team. And of course, it helps other clubs, other leagues to know that, okay, Bologna is not. My biggest concern was, I don't want others to think that Bologna is a one season wonder. हाँ आके चली गई, बाद में next season 10th 15th finish किया. So this is a good consistent run. Kudos to Bologna. Kudos to the entire management to see that in him, to get it, to of course shortlist him and to get him with a project in mind. And I'm pretty sure, of course, we don't follow Bologna in depth, but it does look like Ajay they have a very strong project going on, and won't be surprised Ajay. And won't be surprised Ajay they will keep churning out good players, and I won't be surprised if players won't mind going there, like an Atlanta Ajay. People don't have problems going to Atlanta anymore. So
true. So Chintan, Sartori is the guy who built Atlanta.
Exactly.
Who is Bologna's sporting director. He just signed a contract extension. He was, his contract was expiring.
Ajay, बहुत दुख हुआ, because I had that glimmer of hope, because of course Milan were looking for a SD. That is another topic who is going to come in. But I swear Ajay, 2 महीने 3 महीने पहले January में glimmer of hope था कि Sartori extension sign ना करे और Milan somehow pounce करे. But good move in hindsight, if you go to say, of course, not being selfish, but a good move that वो नहीं हुआ, because we need the Bolognas, the Atlantas to consistently win.
Yeah. Chintan, you have some stats to pull out with regards to Bologna's form and numbers.
Yes, first of all, Ajay, look at the position here. They're right now sitting fourth. So as of now, Ajay, they are going to the Champions League again. And let's unfortunate part, Ajay, this time we have only 4 spots, not 5. So that one spot is important. But look down, of course, it's a big of a cluster, Ajay. Bologna on 56 points, Juventus on 55, 52. Of course, Roma, what a rise, Roma. And I'm sure you're happy to see this here. But look at this, Ajay. My interesting thing when I see the statistics is this. Look at the home form, Ajay. 15 games played, 9-1, only 1 loss. Look at the goals, Ajay. 16 plus GD and 2.13 per game, points per game. That is super impressive, Ajay. This is a top 4 quality club. Or you can say, if you just see the home form, this is a club which is vying for the title. You can say that. So something like that. Great. And it is, what is exciting to see, Ajay, they have played all the big teams at home already. Of course, a few coming in. We all know they thrashed Roma. They embarrassed Milan. So they have done that. So great.
Trash Lazio. क्या बोल रहे थे?
Trash Lazio. Sorry, trash Lazio. Bologna didn't beat Roma, right?
They beat Roma 3-2 at.
Sorry. Fiorentina beat Roma badly. Fiorentina beat. I got confused with there. So yeah, but Another thing is, look at this, Ajay. Look at the XG, overall XG. Look at the XG at home, 1.79, Ajay. That's almost 2 goals per game. And overall XG, if you have a team which is guaranteeing you goals, like 1.56 goals every game, that's amazing. And the most interesting, look at home, 0.95. Ajay, they concede less than 1 goal a game. That is fantastic. So not just a great attack, Ajay. Like जैसे पता है वो memes आते हैं that body आगे का part बहुत अच्छा है,
हाँ,
पीछे बहुत खराब है. That
घोड़े का.
typical घोड़े का. Yes, yes. This
हाँ,
something falls that so, and you know Ajay, एक बहुत famous saying है, defense will win, attack will win you games and defense will win tournaments. So
yeah, yeah.
certainly on the right track. And you can see this. Look, you can see the stat. These are the stats. You know, they failed to score at home only 7%. That is fantastic. You know, these stats are first of all amazing stats over here. So when you put all these things into context, Ajay, it's not a surprise, right? Where they're sitting. Kya lag raha hai? Seeing all these
100,
stats.
100%. And this has been a turnaround. Like we have been mentioning slow start tha. I think वो Champions League came too soon for them because the squad was under a rebuild. Italiano was new to Bologna, so it took some time. Agar somehow had they managed to qualify for the latter stages, they would have been like a dark horse, like Atlanta, very much. You know, um, uh, in a way, like I mentioned, they've stopped conceding goals. That is very scary. It's absolutely scary that they have stopped conceding goals because this Bologna is looking like a real deal, man. And Castro, I mean, what a player, what a number 9. अगर वो ला लीगा में या प्रीमियर लीग में होता ना तो उसका गुणगान गाते थे लोग कि भाई ये क्या टैलेंट है, इज ही द नेक्स्ट जूलियन अल्वारेज और अग्वेरो, वो
Yes,
मोल्ड में
100%,
है.
100%.
He's in that mold of a striker. So overall, I would say that credit where it's due, where Italiano has been under the radar. He has had question marks over him, and now he's turned it around. And at this point of time, Bologna look very, forget Fort Chintan. I think they can overtake Atlanta also because they have a game against Atlanta coming up, so they
I
can
was just
aim
going to say,
as
Ajay.
high as third also.
Ajay, that's what I was going to say. If you ask me right now, from all the teams fighting for the top four spot, they look like the one who look like the most assured. And look at this, Ajay. Of course, you should be very happy to see this table. Look at the team number one. But then look
Yeah,
at the last 6 games over here. 15 points.
true.
Of course, only Roma has won all 6 games, Ajay. You should be very happy with that. But these are great stats. And it's not just that, Ajay. These are the great stats for the base which he has already set up. He has
Yeah,
players. I'm a big fan of Ferguson. Last year, Ajay, uska injury बहुत खराब time पे आया. Of course, they eventually did manage to qualify for the Champions League.
yeah,
So, and it is amazing. And I'll get to the point where they're top scorers. It's so evenly distributed, Ajay. Most appearances. Look at the top scorers, Ajay. Everyone has contributed here. Look at the assist.
yeah,
So everyone is getting involved in everything.
yeah.
Orsolini, I think Ajay, he just took over in the last few games. He's been on
Yeah, yeah,
fire.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's true. That's true. And
But
Santi Castro, they get goals, assists. Juan Miranda, left back, Calafiori
left back,
replacement. He's got.
exactly,
That's just crazy
exactly,
numbers.
exactly.
Crazy numbers.
Ajay, and the thing is, if you ask any fans, any Milan fans, Inter fans, Roma, Juventus, we will rate this club. We are ready to
Yeah,
rate this club, because the number of players, we already know, Ajay, that Endoy was linked to Napoli very heavily,
yeah,
and in
yeah,
seeing Inter's formation, he'll also fit in very well over there. So they are going to be linked with
yeah.
all the big. I just hope that this season, Ajay, they hold on to everyone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. That's pretty much true, man. And just like another just a visual representation in terms of what Italiano has done in 2025 is this. It's amazing. So 2025 में 11 wins, 5 draws and 1 loss. And of course, like we mentioned that he's on the verge of making it into the Coppa Italia final, where he will face one of the Milan clubs, Chintan, either Tera club Milan or Param's club Inter. So potential trophy, that Italiano can finally win in his third attempt. But just to sum up and close this video, let's just have a look at the fixtures, Chintan, of Bologna that are coming up.
But Ajay, before we go here, I have one question for you.
Huh.
When it comes to confidence, of course, you saw Bologna were not kind of losing games in the Champions League against smaller teams. Not smaller. Champions League में जितने smaller teams हो सकती है. Do
Yeah.
you think that win against Dortmund at home was that push they needed to go on this run, that confidence booster? First of all, Ajay, let's not forget that Dortmund Champions League runners up. So, do you think that motivates you, gets you that confidence?
100%. And Dortmund are still there. They're still in the quarters of the Champions League, about to face Barca. So this is a Dortmund team that many had written off, but very difficult to beat on the day for sure. And for an Italian club like Bologna to beat them, immense sign of fault. मैं वही बोला कि थोड़ा जल्दी आया. The Champions League came
Yes,
a little
yes.
too soon for them. थोड़ा अगर समझ चैंपियंस लीग नवंबर में शुरू होता, दिसंबर में शुरू होता, तब तक इटालियानो का एक स्क्वाड सेट हो जाता था. हिज
Forget
आइडियाज,
that, Ajay.
लाइक यू
That is why I always say that I think Motta should have stayed one more season with the Champions League team.
मेंशन.
उसने set कर दिया था. Ideally speaking, वही
And to
होता है.
देखना, look at the contrasting fortunes. Motta is without a job right now, and Italiano is killing it with Bologna now. Probably, he'll be linked with, the likes of Milan or maybe a Premier League club in the top half. You never know, man. I mean, it's the sky is the limit for Italiano right at this point of time.
But
And
your
also,
suggestion, do you think yes, of course, he's going to be linked here, but he's still not a high profile. Would you, in modern times, like a Pep is a high profile manager. Of course, he was a very loud personality. Look at Motta, a big player himself, became a manager. Like someone like a Pioli, Italiano might be groomed in that level. Not a great player, Ajay. I know he spent most of his career in Hellas and a typical midfielder. Not a great player, not a big fandom उसके पीछे है. So first of all, do you think, even regardless of his results, do you think big clubs will chase him, Ajay, outside Italy?
I think they will. By big clubs, I hope it's a Premier League top five, top six club, and with all due respect, not West Ham or like I would like to see him at Bournemouth if Irola goes to say like another club. I think Bournemouth would be a good jump at this point of time because they're top five, top seven में हैं लोग. तो ऐसे कोई clubs में, but the problem is like Italian managers in England थोड़ा समय लगता है उनको आने के लिए. I don't think so इतना patience रहेगा. Ideally, if you ask me, I would love to see him at Roma as well because at Roma, we are known as La Magica, attacking champion football. Italiano can bring that to the table, but I don't think so. He's moving right now at this point of time. But ऐसे clubs जहाँ पे even at Milan, for example, I think his style would suit the Milan philosophy a lot, in my opinion. So
Exactly.
I would like to see him make a jump in Italy only at this point of time. And like I mentioned, like wo hai, he's very, if he's considered not rated or aisa, it's a huge mistake because I think he's proven a lot of critics wrong at this point of time. And in all fairness, he should stick with Bologna because Bologna are definitely making it to Europe next season. चैंपियंस लीग तो पहुंचेंगे तो वेल एंड गुड, बट इफ नॉट यूरोपा लीग तो पहुंचने ही वाली है. सो फॉर श्योर ही शुड स्टिक maybe for another season and see how it goes, then look for that big jump to say a Milan
And
or Roma or whoever.
do you think, Ajay, with Gasperini leaving now, Atlanta, of course, Atlanta have already established themselves.
Yes,
Can we
good
call
choice at Atlanta. Yes,
exactly? I
yes,
was just
very
saying,
good
good
choice.
Atlanta. And do you think now we can even hope Sartori being there? Do you think there is a grooming of Bologna being the next Atlanta? Do you think that can also happen as a club sustainability wise?
100%, 100%. Yeah, उनका जो stadium है is very iconic, with the
Yeah.
cathedral right over there. There are a lot of American fan base for Bologna, historic club
Yeah.
obviously, has won multiple scudetti when the before the First World War वो समय पे. So again, American ownership as well. So there is foreign ownership with Bologna. They are seriously looking to expand their footprint. So overall, all the right conditions are there for them to probably become sustainable, for them to become the next Atalanta, qualify for Europe, on multiple occasions, maybe win a trophy like how Gasperini won the Europa League with Atalanta, eventually target those kind of trophies. अगर कोपा इटालिया जीत गए इस साल तो it'll be amazing.
Amazing.
Like the last 4-5 years, जो उन्होंने efforts डाला है to build a squad, वो एक उनको एक टेस्टमेंट आ जाएगा कि दैट प्रोजेक्ट इज सक्सेसफुल. सो ओवरऑल यस, बोलोनिया फैंटास्टिक प्लेस, इटालियानो राइट मैन at the right place, a few more years, and then probably he takes the leap naturally to one of the Milan clubs, or a Juve, Atlanta, Roma, those clubs who have always been there, a Napoli as well, you never know.
I liked how you
With
slipped Lazio out of the conversation.
but yeah, obviously, because see with Napoli also, with Conte and De Laurentiis, you never know what's going to happen. So शायद उसको वहां पे भी एक opportunity मिल जाएगा. But having said that, I think let's see how they finish the season first, and then we can see how Italiano 3.0 takes it next season at Bologna.
Yeah,
Fixtures
so Ajay,
देखे?
let's get down to fixtures, man. The end of the season fixtures.
हाँ. तो चिंतन last
Wow.
season Motta finished with 68 points, right?
68
With
points.
Bologna.
And right now
So
Bologna on
Italiano was at
56
56.
points.
तो
Yes.
12 पॉइंट उनको चाहिए, मतलब 4 विन चाहिए 8 गेम में. एंड तू अगर देखेगा देयर फर्स्ट गेम नाउ इज अगेंस्ट नापोली, ironically against Napoli, that in form Napoli team against an in form Bologna team who can probably derail their Scudetto hopes, by the way, Chintan. And
I'm telling
उसके
you,
बाद
Ajay,
में
I have a very strong feeling that Hoga, because even the Napoli against Milan was started off very well, quite shaky. I won't be surprised if they beat Napoli.
yeah, yeah. Then they have that direct head-to-head clash, Chintan, like you mentioned, the team above them are Atlanta. तो सोच अगर
Yeah.
उनको हराया तो third place is well within their reach. Then once again at home they face Inter who themselves are in a title race along with Napoli. So Bologna could have a very strong say in the Scudetto also. Then you have
Yeah,
the
yeah,
second leg against Empoli. This is a formality, Chintan यार, ये तो हो गया है.
yeah.
ये तो
Done
Bologna
is
आने
done.
वाली है. Followed by Udinese, then Juve at home. इनके सारे big game apart from Milan and say an Atlanta are at home. So they face Napoli, Inter, and Juve at home. Atlanta, Milan, and Fiorentina away before finishing the season with Genoa. तो क्या लगता है तेरे को चिंतन? You think they can get to T3, T4 in this run?
Yeah, I feel if you don't count the top two teams out, even Atlanta have kind of at times struggled. Of course, they are running out
Yeah,
of juice. Maybe Napoli have struggled quite a bit and all. So and plus, I'm telling you, Ajay, मैं starting में बोला था, if I have to put my money just on current form, and probably not even form, but the way they've been playing, the football they've been playing, I'll put my money on on Bologna to finish top four. The way they're playing, they will have no fear, Ajay.
yeah,
They have beaten the likes of Milan and Roma, so
yeah,
they've beaten the bigger teams, so they will not be afraid to face a Milan or Juve and all. So I
yeah.
won't be surprised. But yeah, you're right, they're going to decide the title race in the next 3 matches. So either they're going to halt the title race, or might be out of top four, Ajay. If they don't manage to win any of the three
हाँ,
games, they might be out of the top four either.
वो
Sure.
भी हो
So
सकता
because
है, वो भी हो
वो भी
सकता
हो
है.
सकता है. So probably these next three games probably is a make or break for the Serie A table as a whole, or from Bologna.
Yeah,
But if you ask me, Ajay, if you ask my predictions, I think fourth or fifth they should finish on the form they are in right now. I don't see them stuttering. I think Milan को हरा सकते हैं. Juve, Milan are in turmoil, Ajay. वो हरा सकते हैं. Atlanta, again, they've been drawing a lot of games. They should be winning.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Napoli again are struggling themselves. They can't finish off games. So यार Inter का game ऐसा लग रहा है कि probably the toughest fixture for them.
But still,
So
it's at home for them. So Bologna are at home.
Delara, yes, Delara
Such
is
a strong Delara में is a fortress for them, यार.
yeah. So but yeah, if you ask me, current form में बोल सकते हैं, very hard for me to say it because if Milan don't qualify top four, I would want Roma to go top four. But current form में probably in form Roma, जैसे हम लोग ने देखा last 6 fixtures, Roma and Bologna are probably the most informed teams. Probably Bologna has the most difficult fixtures if you ask me. Because सबको खेल रहा है, they are playing everyone. So either you can call them tough fixtures or you can call them direct head-to-heads. Okay,
Direct head-to-head,
their
yeah.
fate is in their hands. So for me,
Yeah.
I think fourth or fifth they'll finish for sure.
Fair enough. Irrespective of whatever happens, this was an apology video to Vincenzo Italiano from Calcio Charcha, from Chintan and me. So, viewers, अगर आप यहाँ तक पहुँच चुके हो, once again, thank you for all the love and support. Keep watching, keep supporting. Content आता रहेगा Calcio Charcha पे. And this was our short tribute video to Vincenzo Italiano and the way that he's turned things around at Bologna this season. Before we close, any parting words, Chintan?
Nothing. I just hope this, just for Serie A's sake, don't want to the old horn baja raha hu baat mein ke you need more Atlantas to do well consistently for them to establish themselves. That's why I just hope Bologna is on that step like Atlanta was a few years ago. So I just hope it's a stepping stone because Ajay, team strong hogi, competition strong hoga, so there's good competition, though clubs will get stronger and the national team
Yeah.
gets stronger. You know, Italian national team needs that probably. You know, we need more options,
Yeah.
more players. We need more eyes, Ajay. We need more Bologna fans. So I hope this video goes everywhere. People start observing them because beating Dortmund was not a joke. It was a good performance. They deserve to win that game. They thrashed Milan. Although scoreline didn't suggest that, Ajay, but we deserve to lose that game. So I just hope more eyes on Bologna, please, because we need these teams to do more. We need these teams to go further. Though Conference League हुए हैं Ajay, Fiorentina का, but people still don't talk about Fiorentina. So I hope that changes.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, guys. Thank you so much. That was it for this video. We'll see you in another video sometime soon from Chintan and me at Calcio Charcha. It's ciao ciao.